It's hard to imagine that, this time last week we might have known what volcanic ash was, but it wasn't something we were talking about. And now I feel kind of grateful to it because it's knocked the economy off the agenda, so to speak. And for the first time in about 2 years, it's possible to have a conversation with other adults without talking about house prices and Shawnee and people like that. And the other reason, I know that it's been a nightmare for the organisers of the festival, but the great thing about the volcanic ash is that it makes me, who's come all the way from Dublin, feel very exotic. I've never felt more welcome in my life. After a 2-hour journey, I didn't even look out the window to see where I was reading a book, and I arrive, and it's as if I arrived off the space shuttle from Mars to contribute. It's wonderful. Dublin has never felt abroad before, and now I do feel that I have come from abroad. To the extent that myself and Anne have decided to abandon the reading tonight, and we're going to do a PowerPoint presentation on our culture. Lots of pictures. I don't know if volcanoes have an epicenter, but we know earthquakes do have an epicenter. And if what has happened to Ireland in the last couple of years can be described as some sort of an earthquake, I suppose its epicenter is really here in this city, in a tent, and full of characters called Shawnee and Fingers and Biffo and Bertie and Sweary Mary. And what's extraordinary about it, the cliche, you couldn't make it up. Well, actually, as a writer, you could make it up. And that's fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. It's like being in Galway, it's like you're walking around, you're in a short story. It's really terrific. So it's always I love being here. I haven't been at the festival in 16 years. The last time I was here, Van Morrison played, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So it's great to be here again, particularly having come all the way from Dublin to be here. I know this is the beginning. I know Galway just doesn't do. It's not a festival. It's a rolling thing now till October. Despite the fact that you single-handedly, as a city, brought the country down to its knees in that tent. Not since Brian Maru has a tent featured so prominently in Irish history. I know that Galway is a guilt-free zone. Guilt doesn't arrive in Galway. You don't do guilt. No sleep now till October, I think, is basically what's going to happen now. The festival. I reckon it's the roundabouts that surround Galway. The guilt gets as far as the outskirts and then ends up in Limerick or Ennis or Oughterard. It never quite makes it into Galway itself. So I don't know how to end this. Like all good stories, the hard work is in the ending, and I never quite got around to it. What about to say the fact that I'm delighted to be here. I'm looking forward to myself and Anne's PowerPoint presentation. It'll be fascinating, full of interesting things about a part of the world we've come from. And, I think some of you are well on already, so it's all culture. The arts are gone now, of course. It's culture. And even vomiting in the river is culture, isn't it really? It's why all these people used to come to Ireland. So have a great time. I know I'm looking forward to it, particularly tomorrow morning's event. So have a great time. And the most extraordinary work has been going on for the last few days. Well, it goes on all year. I've been to quite a few festivals, and you begin to learn, that your arrival isn't the beginning, the middle, and the end of it. I mean, there's an awful lot of organisation. But I've got to say how it's still alive and going and kicking. I know there's no one to blame for this. That's great. I'm an atheist, so I can't even blame God for our predicament. But I think a lot of the work that's been going on, it's just admirable. It's absolutely admirable that it's been done, and I think we owe people a debt of gratitude. So have a great time. Have a great time. Thank you.